Okay, welcome to this episode of Stress and Purpose in Life. This podcast is here for you listeners who want to get inspired by our own journeys and yourself to transform your life and create a less stress and more purpose. And in this episode, more productivity. Right. So we will focus on peak performance without getting stressed out. And I have an incredible guest with me today. I don't think you barely need an introduction, Doug, but you're an transformational coach, international speaker, and also former corporate leader who has also written a book about mindset and productivity. So, can you please introduce? It's great having you here. Could you please shortly introduce yourself to those people that don't know you?
Yeah, sure, Stina. It's an absolute pleasure to be on the show and lovely to be talking internationally from here in Ireland across to Sweden as well. So I'm sure there's many people across there listening in.
Great.
So a big thank you. And look, in terms of myself, I worked in the investment world for 21 years and then moved across after a near-death experience and some stress ailments and everything like that, across to being initially a healer and then a life coach, then a radio presenter, then speaking on stage all around the world, and then on top of that, doing executive coaching, corporate training, and keynotes. So what I do is I teach people in terms of high performance success without stress, leadership, productivity, as you mentioned, performance. One of my businesses called Performance Optimization. Another one of my businesses called the Leadership and Life Mastery Summit as well. So it's all forms of leadership in terms of making sure you're speaking from a conscious leadership point of view, where you are really trying to create trust and inspiration rather than command and control. And also in terms of sales and presentation skills, what I teach, it's all about consciously communicating with people to create long-term relationships rather than just trying to get quick wins. So everything I do is about productivity, performance, leadership, and energy in terms of my healing side of my things as well, because your health is your wealth. And if you can get into the highest energetic state, you're going to get more done in less time with less stress. So I enable people and leaders to be able to do that so they can achieve the best they possibly can achieve.
So great. It's really summarizing exactly what your mission is, right? You're here to that is such a nice health is wealth. It's a really good um, uh, yeah, something that is very important today, and also both in private life and also working life. But you're mostly working with top leaders, right? And also executives and that. Thoughts
Yeah,
about defining your life, what you were supposed to do with your life, because you had a quite diverse career, right? So what
yeah,
was the wake-up calls for you to start with
sure.
this?
Sure,
Yeah.
Stephen. So, as I said, I was working in the investment world for 21 years, but as many people remember, in 2008, markets fell through the floor. We had a really struggling time in terms of the financial crisis. And at that point, we had to lay off a lot of people in our company. And at that point, I got stressed, even though I was performing very highly. I still, really had a lot of friendships there. And I could see the people carrying boxes out of the office. I felt very sad for them, obviously. And at that point, I ended up getting stressed. And that stress and anxiety led to ailments, to doctors, to specialists, to 2 operations that went wrong at the end of 2009 on my digestive gut. And then that led to 3 or 4 years, in fact, of chronic pain. And it was like I was being punched in the stomach. And that really caused even more anxiety and stress. I've been playing the likes of, Premier League field hockey, playing with alongside internationals and stuff like that. And then to suddenly find my body being affected in this way was really depressing. And that depression and anxiety led to massive stress. And that stress led to my performance. I still performed, but I had to really focus and learn different techniques and tricks to be able to cope with the pain at the same time. And then
Yeah.
when I thought nothing could get any worse, in 2013, I ended up getting the norovirus, which is like a stomach bomb. It's like a big stomach bug. And after 10 days of serious dehydration, literally running to the toilet 100 times during the day, I ended up having electrolytes down to about 0. And an ambulance was called. The ECG in the ambulance said heart as an issue. Blood pressure literally doubled. I was brought into a hospital, and then at that point, run down to X-ray because they thought it was some kind of blockage in the gut, and it wasn't. But it was just on that way down, I suddenly passed over into this amazing feeling of love, energy, and connection. Nothing like I'd ever felt before. There was no man with a beard, but there was this living, conscious energy that was binding and connecting me to everything. And there was no voice as such, but there was this knowing that was telling me that I needed to change my life in some way or form and find a sense of purpose that matched my heart self rather than my head self. Because when I got into what I was doing in terms of the financial world, I was basically trying to chase money. And there's nothing wrong with money, because money is an exchange for energy, experience, or time. And if you have good of all of those, then you're adding value to people's lives, and hopefully you should get paid well for it if you're valuing yourself. But at the same time, if you chase that solely, then you might find your soul not singing as much as you might like. And that's why it's so important to really chase a sense of purpose. So I did all my goals. I wanted to have a 6-figure annual salary. I did that within 5 years. I wanted a family. I did that. I wanted to have, houses with no mortgages. I did that. And then when I had no more goals, no more purpose, no more direction, I suddenly had the near-death experience. But what I found then is, since then, I initially, as I said, I became a healer to heal myself. And once I'd healed myself, and once I started learning to connect my heart more than my head, and be able to discern situations of stress in a more positive manner, that helped me become more emotionally intelligent, vibrate. And they always say your vibe attracts your tribe. Vibrate at a more peaceful, positive, but also really high vibe level. And that then changed my life. It changed my health, it changed my outlook, it changed my relationships and everything like that. But it took some time, I have to say.
Yeah, it's a lot of moments in your life that you had many things happening to you. I mean, that must have really many wake-up calls, right? Do you think that those were like, I mean, did you have some warning signs before? Because what I would like to ask is there something that you wish people would understand about stress and achievement that is the breaking point, or something that you ignore the warning signs? Is something there that you learned through this process that you had taken with you in your own techniques that you learn to other people?
Yeah, well, 100%, Stina.
Yeah.
So if we go back before 2008, even, I always found myself with indigestion and probably a little bit of IBS, which people can look that up. I won't mention what it is. But between the two of those, they didn't help. And they're all stress related, really, or they were all stress related. And I had cameras down here, up there, everywhere, really. It was funny. I always used to say in my presentations to the investment guys that we have a bottom up, top down way of investing, and I had cameras bottom up and top down. And it was quite a stressful oriented thing, but I did kind of ignore it in terms of, yeah, I went to the doctors and yeah, I got pills, but I wasn't changing my lifestyle. And I really believe that if everybody looks after their lifestyle and their well-being and what they eat and their mental health, they might just find that they don't need to go to the doctor. And I have actual evidence of that with my own self, because up until probably 2000, end of 2013, I was going to the doctor at least monthly, probably weekly, with some kind of stress-related ailment that I didn't see at the time. And that was going on probably since about, probably 2007. Well, maybe not going every week in 2007, but maybe 2008. But then once I started discovering mindfulness, well-being, reduce my alcohol, meditation, gratitude, proper exercise that was good for me, healthily for me, and not over pushing me, all of those combined together with good nutrition suddenly changed me as a person and the way I felt. And I'd say since 2013, may have been to the doctor less than 10 times. And I'd say quite a few of those was medicals for just checkups and stuff like that as well. So it just really shows you that when you look after yourself in a preventative manner, you won't have to go anywhere.
No, that's great. And many people don't have the time or don't take the time to do that. But it's really so, you have your different daily techniques, but everything is, well, if you do one of those things that you say, then it's a better thing than do nothing, right? So it's really good to have those kind of habits that you can have in your daily life.
Well,
Can you share, if you look around, because you've spoken on many stages around the world and everything, what is the common stress trigger that you can see amongst people that you meet? And how
well,
do they tackle them? Do you have some kind of case that you can explain a little bit about, that is quite obvious
yeah.
that this is the majority of the people?
Well, I'll give you two. I'll give you one on a holistic one, and then I'll give you a business one as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think the biggest stress that I find in business and in life is actually ego. And ego is when people are coming from their head self. It's when they're overthinking, rather than getting into their heart self, where they're coming from a place of love. Because when you come from a place of love, you can't have fear. When you come from a place of ego, as in running around in your head, that's when fear can come in. And when you have fear, it creates a dis-ease within the body. And over time, of prolonged periods of fear and stress and anxiety, that can cause actual disease as well. And it's been proven in many points of view. Even I think in Stanford University, they've done research into forgiveness and showing that people that can't let go and can't forgive, sometimes it's led to things like cancer and other ailments as well. So autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to be able to balance your mindset. And one of the things I'd say is I had one particular client who, top CEO of a business making millions every single year, and he was focusing on ego. He was focusing on achievement. He was focusing on, I'll be happy when I get there, and then he get there, and then I'll be happy when I get here, and then he get there and he still wouldn't be happy. And also
Yeah.
the biggest thing, especially with some people who I find in business, is they take things very personally. And when you look at things with personal eyes, you personalize. And when you personalize situations, sometimes it's not actually about you. It's just about the other person. And the other person may be going through some stuff that doesn't agree with them. They might be unhappy. They like hurt people, right? So if you're their closest, nearest, and dearest, or working with you every day, they may sometimes project out to you because they trust you, or they may trust you in some way or form, their deepest inner feelings. And that might be a lot of hurt. So instead of getting wrapped up in their emotion and commotion, it's really good if you can kind of put yourself on the 10th floor, look back down as the observer, and ask yourself, what's happening here? What am I observing here? What can I learn from here? How can I help this person? Or even just learn from it to grow myself in some way or form, rather than getting wrapped up, almost gamifying it. And I think that really has helped me as well, because in the past, even my own self, when a boss or a client or a colleague has said something to me that I didn't like, I would wrap it up in my head, overthinking it 100 times. Did they mean this or did they mean that? And it's a complete waste of energy. And when you waste energy, you can cause stress and anxiety because of the overthinking and everything like that. The amygdala, which is the kind of monkey mind part of the brain, it was very useful in the old days when there was a tiger or a lion or even a dinosaur about to eat you, because it makes you very self-aware, makes you like this all the time. But nowadays it comes through little niggles and arguments and emails and everything like that as well. So it's not as useful. So it's very important to be able to discern and control your mind and calm yourself through breathing exercises, through self-regulation, through gamifying life to not take it so seriously. But one of the most important things, I think, as well, is making sure you're living a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning, a sense of why that aligns to your heart self rather than your head self. So that when these things come in, you look at them as if you're playing a PlayStation game, and you're the hero of the game, going for your mission, whatever purpose it is. And there will be little objections coming in along the way to try and stop you getting there. So instead of getting all upset about them, just going, right, I am the hero of this story, and I'm just going to gently move through them in an emotionally intelligent manner and understand that my goal, my purpose is the love for what I do, the love for the people I work with, and the love for the clients that I serve, which I say in an acronym, love is an acronym for lots of vibrant energy. So if you can stick in your energy rather than getting wrapped up in other people's energies, you'll find yourself in a lot less stressed state.
And that is a universal challenge, I think. People have that. When the external environment is always there, it's just on social media. It's also, everything is influencing you in some way, in a subconscious way. But I'm thinking that's the biggest challenge for people to shift their mindset, or what? Because I'm interested to know what is your quick fix for a mindset shift? To reduce this influence on external environment and stress that it gives you, the thoughts that you have and everything.
Yeah.
Do you have some quick fix mindset shift that you can perhaps share with us?
Yeah, well, as I said, the quickest fix really is detachment from situations, detachment from ego, detachment from material things, and detachment from worrying about what other people think. So it's to stop yourself when you feel
Yeah.
that tension inside. Stop yourself in the moment. Actually, stop yourself in the moment and say to yourself, "Is this my truth?" So if your ego is going, "Oh, you need to attack this person back," or "Oh, this is a terrible thing," or "Oh my God, your life's over," whatever. Just stop yourself in the moment and just say to yourself, if you can out loud, but if not, just to your own self, really, is this my truth? Because probably what you'll find is that your monkey mind is playing with you. Your fear side of you is playing with you. Ego, as I always say, is edging God out. And when you're
Yeah.
attached to your higher self, your best self, you're almost attached to your godlike self. And I truly believe that when we get into that state of love and we're coming from that place of love, it's very quick to help. So one of the best things, actually, it's a preventative thing that helps, is when I'm going into any situation, that it might be a board meeting, it might be going on stage where I might get difficult questions, or even coming on here, maybe there might be something. I put my hand on my heart and I say, "I am Doug Gordon, I am my heart. Please let me connect with the hearts of the audience in order to bless rather than impress and add as much value." So that way, what I'm doing is I'm getting myself out of my head self into my heart self, getting myself out of the place of ego into a place of love. So if I make a mistake in this, I don't mind,
Mhm.
because I'm just trying to come from a place of love. I'm just trying to add value. I'm just trying to be helpful to you and the audience. So when you get into that
Mm.
intentional state, that knowing state. Now, if people are listening, if I was to ask you, Stina, is your name Stina? And you said, "I think it is," that's not the answer you're going to say, because you know it is. So you're not going to say, "I believe it is," because you
Yeah.
know it is. So when you know something, when you know you're in that intentional state of love and just adding value to people, it won't matter about the ego. It won't matter what people negative things they say to you, if you're coming from that place and you're vibrating from that place. But if you are vibrating in a place of ego, worry, fear, wanting to look good, wanting to impress people, then you're going to have stress, then you're going to have problems, then you're going to have emotion and commotion in your body. But if you're in this sense of non-attachment to what other people say, and that includes keeping your energy separate, because remember, if you have two people in a relationship, say this is your, I'm a man, so I'll say this is my partner, and she comes back from work, she's really stressed, she's had some problem, she's like this. Quite often, what we often do, because we love them, we come up and kind of give them a hug. And we also sometimes, men especially, want to be fix-its because they don't want to see their partner being, upset. They then get wrapped up in this emotion and commotion, and then they're vibrating it the same way, and sometimes there can be an explosion. So that's why you're laughing,
Yeah.
because you know it's true, right?
Yeah, but many people, I think many people recognize this, because it's a stressed environment, and then you don't think about it, but you have to think about it. You have to have those relationship and that love, because the love that you're talking about is so important. But stress and love is not, it's not equal to each other.
Yeah,
When you're stressed out, it's difficult to feel love because you're stressed out.
yeah,
You
and
know,
that's and
and that getting there, I think it's a process, and I think I agree with you about this, finding the purpose of your life and feeling that you have a meaning, that you work, that what you're doing is meaningful, and that is from the heart,
mhm.
right? But does that come from some traumatic experience that you have had, people in general, or for people that have no traumas and have no yeah, it's merry-go-round, right, in life. They are like, okay, it's just living and nothing is happening. Do they not see this, or do you think that this is something that's just a mind shift that everybody's able to see? Because that's, I think many people that I've talked to are people that have gone through something and then hit the rock bottom, right? Something like that, and then they have after that, well, reflected on their life, right?
Well, yes, that's true. And obviously, what happens is they turn their mess into a message to give it meaning and help others, or turn their tragedy into a triumph. And that's very
Yeah.
common. Having said that, for those of you out there that haven't had some kind of trauma, that's great. That might be that you're already living your sense of purpose, because I find that the inner self tends to wake us up and create these terrible things to people when they're not following their path of purpose. But if you want,
Oh, I agree with you. That is really clever. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, so if
You have to wake up
if
again.
if you're
Yeah.
not following that path of purpose, then you might want to work out what that is. So what you can do is you can write down, say, 5 things that you know you're really gifted at and you're good at, and then write down 5 things that you absolutely love and enjoy doing, and then write down 5 things that you know through those that you can add value to people. And through a match of those three, you should be able to find some kind of direction, purpose, and goals to really get there. And the other one is to imagine, like I speak on stage all around the world. If I was to give you guys a stage in front of 10,000 people and you were 95 years of age, still with lots of energy, what would you talk about? What would you be most passionate about? What legacy would you want to leave? And when you know what that is in terms of that message, then you can reverse engineer yourself back to where you are today and ask yourself, okay, what do I need to do? Who do I need to collaborate with? Who do I need to learn from so that I can stand on that stage, give that speech, and leave that legacy? And that'll give you direction, it'll give you purpose, and a sense of really good fulfillment within as well. But I will say, those of you out there who can't move job and are stuck in a job because you're paying bills, looking after family, or whatever, you can create purpose within there. Because what you can do is you can look at the energetics of your job, how it interlinks. It might not be direct, but how it interlinks through other people in your organization to that end customer. And when you can see the energetics of what you do and how it adds value to somebody in some way or form, it can give you a sense of purpose. So, for example, I was in the investment management world selling hedge funds and mutual funds before. At the time, I thought it was transactional. But when I look back now, I realized that we really had some really good funds. So by getting the clients to move into our funds, we were potentially helping that end granny or grandpa retire younger, give more to their children, buy a better retirement home, or have a better life. So when you realize that interaction of how you might be bettering lives, whether you're the janitor, whether you're the secretary, or you're the CEO, it can really make a difference to how you feel and how you spring out of bed every single day.
And if we go back, that's really something that has to do with productivity as well. Because if you feel well with your situation, both privately and professionally, then you have the energy to produce and be productive, right? So, where is the correlation there, according to you, regarding the shift of mindset and also not being stressed out by things, not being externally involved, but looking inside yourself with the purpose? How does that correlate regarding the productivity and the achievement part of people? Do you think it's a correlation there, and what is that equal to in
So,
that case?
Stina, there's an article, actually, people look it up on Forbes magazine, where they prove that just happier staff are 20% more productive. Happier salespeople are apparently
Yeah.
37% more productive. And in Fortune magazine as well, there was an article showing over a 7-year period that the top 100 places to work for in terms of happiness actually had stock market returns per annum in that period of 14%. And those outside of that top 100 averaged only 6%. So that shows obviously that
Yeah.
the results that they were getting was down to the happiness. And the results that we get in life come from the actions that you take. And the actions that you take come from the decisions that you make. And the decisions that you make comes from your habits that you create. And the habits that you create comes from your mindset. In other words, how you think, how you speak, and how you act. So if you change your mindset, you're going to change the end results because they're all interlinked. And that's why when I
Yeah.
do my coaching, consulting, corporate training, I always have a look at people's mindset, because sometimes we're so blinkered on the results that we may have missed something in a state of self-awareness and understanding that may trigger us or may sabotage us to stop focusing on what we want. And we get distracted by these other things as well. People annoying us, whatever it might be. And that energy of that thinking energy is a waste of time. So if you can focus directly on the goal and stay in that state of love, you're going to achieve it much quicker as well.
And is that easy? I mean, in the corporate world, is that easy to? Because this is a really new way of like mindset, and these topics that we're talking about is quite new, because stress is something that's always been there, but now there's such a shift in society right now, right? So everything is going faster, and everything in the technology and everything is going faster, and then the stress will be much more seen in if you look at professionally at workplace, because of it, because people are not into it, the digitalization or the whatever it is going on in the world right now. It is so much things that is going to change, that it will have some kind of stress in an organization, but this mindset is quite new, right? So is it is that something that you see as a challenge when you go through organizations, and then because CEO level perhaps they have the knowledge or not, but everybody in the organization doesn't have that knowledge, right? So the mindset, what is the result of that? Is that on only CEO level, or is it also people all in an organization that can use this? I mean, getting into the mindset and change that.
Yeah.
How do you think about that? Is that your experience?
So Stina, there's mindset in terms of this positive thinking that we're talking about today has been around. I remember there's a book which was written by Florence Scovel Shinn called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And that was written in the 1920s. So there is, and even Benjamin Franklin adhered to it in his book, in his autobiography as well, which is going right back. So mindset has always been around there. It's just we haven't had the internet to be able to disseminate the information and the mindset and the ideas and the emotional intelligence across to people like we do now. So I've been doing this for 9 years in terms of actually coaching, consulting and training people. I've actually been all my working life, because I was into Tony Robbins, I was into Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which was written a long time ago. And so when you're into this kind of stuff and you lead by this kind of stuff, it comes through. I'm living proof of this, because in the investment management world, I was in the Times and the independent national newspapers for success in selling and success in growing businesses. And that comes down to having that very mindset and doing the stuff that I'm talking about now. So I'm living proof. There's many coaches out there who've gone out and got a coaching certificate and not lived it, not worked in the corporate world, not managed people, not been a success. They've just read all the books, been on all the courses, and they're regurgitating the stuff that they've just been taught. Whereas I actually have been there, done that, not just in the corporate world, but also in the sports world, playing to the highest level, coaching and captaining internationals, as I said, in hockey as well, which would be the equivalent of Premier League football. So my point being is, in terms of this mindset, it is around, it's been there for a long time. I teach people in terms of business. I talk about purpose. I talk about self-awareness, purpose-driven awareness, leadership. I talk about conscious leadership all the time, conscious communication. Emotional intelligence being one of the most highest important things for a leader. And that includes self-awareness, conscious communication, empathy, compassion, and self-motivation, self-regulation. All of those are things that basically, if people encapsulate them within their psyche of how the way they think, speak, act, and lead and communicate, they will find that the results that they have in business, in relationships, in life will be very different for them in a positive way.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, I think you are so amazing, everything it is to say. So I just want to keep on talking to you. But do you think that is there something that you like a key thing that you, if the listeners is in this situation that they're either not like finding their purpose, or that they're stressed out, or they're not really happy about their situation, do you have some one thing that they can do right now to just change their mindset, or just to go and do something else, to start challenging their own thoughts, to do step towards another life, right? If that is.
I'm going to give you 2 examples. And the first example I'm going to give, utilizing a mother who rang me up one evening. It was a Friday evening about this time. And she tried to get her daughter into hospital and into one of the mental health homes because her daughter was going to take her own life. And her daughter was 15. And she said, I heard you can help people. I'm absolutely desperate. Please, can you help her? So I said, absolutely, put her on the phone. So I said to this girl, I said, look, I think you're an angel. And she was like, what? I said, we all have an angel on one shoulder and a demon on the other shoulder. And sometimes the demon speaks louder and shouts at you saying you're not good enough. And I truly believe that that's not actually the case. I truly believe, having had a near-death experience, that we come down to this planet to learn, to grow, to evolve, to become better versions of ourselves. I also believe that Einstein says that energy never dissipates, it just moves from one form to another. And based on that premise, I also believe that why would you just come down as you or I? You'd come down as the king, the queen, the prince, the pauper, the invalid, the impliant, to experience life in different ways and different perspectives, to understand the entirety of this game of life. And based on that premise, I believe that you've played it so often that you're an evolved soul, almost like an angel. And an angel would not go through life in an easy manner, because an angel would want to test themselves to the absolute ultimate to see if they could still get through all this crap and come out the other side still as that winning, wonderful angel that you are. So I want you to realize that everything you've gone through has brought you to where you are today. And I know it's really tough. I know it's really hard, but this is just one of those dark times that if you get through and learn through, when you get into the light, as in the good times, it's going to shine much brighter for you inside and out as well. So if you can reframe and understand the balance of life is about light and dark, good and evil, and you can understand that when you go through those dark times, that you're almost leveraged up and owed some good times. And if you reframe it in that way and understand that everything that comes into your life can be gamified to make it into some kind of form of understanding, some learning to make you better, stronger in some way or form, to get up to that next level, as if you're playing a PlayStation of life, it might just help you. So that really helped her. And
Oh my God.
it
Amazing.
reframed her. And then
Be
I
on
said to her,
repeat.
say that again?
That what you just said was, it must be on repeat. You know, it was amazing. I will, that is something that is really warm hearting and really uplifting for people to hear. I think it's amazing. So go on, please.
Yeah, and then the next part of it was I said, look, now what's happened to you has happened to you for a reason. In terms of basically her mum and dad had split up. She hadn't seen her dad for a while and she was really struggling. And I said, look, what happened to you is happened for a reason. I truly believe that we choose our life, we choose our family, we choose the people to come in here to test ourselves in some way or form. And because she was about to take her life, I said, I believe that if you take that away from yourself, it'll be like Groundhog Day and have to redo it all over again. So instead of doing that, why don't you take what you've gone through? And like I said earlier on in the podcast, is to turn your mess into a message and give it meaning. Take the hardships that you've gone through, look at them, understand them, have forgiveness, let go, and then utilize those learnings to help other girls and other people that may be younger than you, that may be going through this. Through your experiences, you can help through their experience as well. So that was something that really helped her in that side of things. On the business side of things, when we're in that situation where we have a boss that says something or anything like that, is there are a lot of, especially in the old-fashioned world of certain industries, not all, but there used to be quite a lot of bosses who got at the top because they're narcissists. Basically, they don't care about anything else other than getting to the top. They're incredibly intelligent people. They can be absolutely charming while they're going up, and if you're doing something for them, they love you. But when something goes wrong, they sometimes, they point the finger and blame and everything like that and all that kind of stuff. So when you get somebody like that treating you in a bad way that upsets you in the business world in some way or form, instead of getting wrapped up in the commotion, get into a state of empathy for them. Understanding that anyone who's like that, anyone who's being mean, horrible, whatever, obviously has hurt inside. And they're projecting that hurt onto you, not necessarily because of what you've done, but because you're there at the time. And almost grace yourself, thinking, well, maybe because they trust me enough to be able to do that in front of me and let themselves down as much as that in front of me, maybe that's an honorable thing. And instead of standing in a state of disgust and looking at them in a state of hate, be graceful, be empathetic, and understand that maybe they be going through something, or maybe there's something triggering them, or maybe also there might be a mirror in you that they seeing themselves. So sometimes, when we point the finger, there's three pointing back at us, as I said. So sometimes when people look at others that they're close to, they actually see the worst attributes of their own self in the other person. And the other person might not even actually really have those, but because they're there and the mirror happens, because they're like that, they have that goggles that the world's like that as well. So the people around them, they see as maybe like that. They're trying to get something, but the other person might not be doing that at all. So that's why it's been able to discern, empathize, and have compassion and get yourself into that state of grace and that state of inner strength of love. And that way it won't happen. And if you can stay in that energy, you'll find that, like I said earlier on, when that person is like that and you stay like that, gradually they come back into sync with your energy as well.
It's absolutely amazing. It's something that is really something that you have to think about in daily life also, because and everybody is, I mean, I was telling somebody another podcast that you walk in the room and the energy is heavy from a person, that person is often perhaps not feeling good. And then instead of like feeling, okay, why is like that, you can feel empathy to that person. And it's the same thing here, because many people, I believe also that energy is, you get caught up by it if it's negative, and then you don't have to, if you choose not to. So it's really good.
What?
I'm thinking, yeah. Do you have something where, I mean, people know who you are, right? But do you have something that you want to explain regarding your book or something? Is there something there that you want to share with us? How
Yeah,
people can connect with you?
look, my book, I'm very grateful that I interviewed over 300 superstars, and they include New York Times bestsellers, film stars, sports stars, top CEOs and business owners, to understand what made them successful in life, not necessarily in money, but in life. And that way, I encapsulated everything that I learned from them, plus my own successes and my own experiences with just me, but also my experiences with my own clients. And I have done thousands upon thousands of hours of business coaching, mentoring, healing, trauma coaching, all of these, and put these into the book to be able to enable people to live happier and more fulfilled, healthier lives as well. So in there, I'll just say I have one acronym which I will share before we go, which is to gleam your
Absolutely.
inner self. And the GLEAM acronym starts with G, and that's goals. To make sure that you set goals in terms of giving yourself a direction in life, and understand that if you visualize those goals, put a vision board in place, and focus on them, you will find them coming quicker to you. We all talk about high performance in terms of productivity, but I actually find that if you plan really well with good planned goals of understanding where you are and where you're looking to go to, and then you put smaller tasks in to lead towards those goals, and then you put a plan in place, as in a business plan, but also you put a vision board in place so you can put yourself in the energy of it as well. Those goals will
Yeah.
gradually come towards you, and it will be amazing about the magic that will happen. G is also about gratitude. I mentioned that earlier on. If you're grateful for what you have, you open yourself up to have more. It's also about being able to give to others, and the greatest gift you can give to yourself is actually giving to others, because it gives a state of fulfillment. And then, L is about letting go in terms of the past is history, the future is a mystery, the present is a gift, so live in the now. You can't get anything done for the future in the future. You can only get it done in the now. So plan in the now, be in the now, and ground yourself if you need to get there as well. And then also in terms of learning, and all the top CEOs now these days generally have a coach in some way or form. Tiger Woods has a coach, Ronaldo has a coach, because they want to be the best of the best. They sometimes don't see things that are in themselves. So they help with a coach to be able to mastermind themselves up to another level. And that's where I might come in. E is emotional intelligence, which I mentioned earlier on, and energy, which we've been talking about. A is authenticity. Yeah, you're the person who is the most authentic version of you is when you act as you. In terms of faking it to make it, people talk about that all the time. I don't believe in that. I always get paid because I'm authentic and trustworthy. So I pick up authentic and trustworthy people, because what you give out in life, you get back in life as well. And then finally, M is all about meaning. And in terms of meaning, it's about finding that purpose in life. But also, remember, the meaning of life is about the journey, not always about the destination. And in terms of the journey of life, the greatest gift that we have in terms of meaning in life is the gift of the five senses. And that's the gift of being able to see the sun, the sea, the stars, and someone you love. The gift of being able to hear the whistle of the wind, the waves lapping on a beach, and someone saying, I love you. The gift of being able to taste chocolate or wine, or the gift of smelling a rose or the scent of a loved one, and the gift of touch in terms of a hug and a kiss. And these are the real true experiences in life. If you look at anybody in life whatsoever, where they're trying to run after this money and wealth, a lot of it is so they can buy different experiences and get different, better experiences, which is all down to the experiences that are actually free. And that's the true meaning of life for me.
I need to put those down. Can you share those with me, that summary of those letters, so I can have it on the podcast?
It's all in my book.
It's on your book. Okay, I get you. We have to read that one. Amazing, and it's really interesting that you say that you've interviewed many people, because that is something that people want to read, right? What people have experienced, is how they, and based on that book, writing this book is, I will read. So absolutely. you want to up here, because I would like to have you more times here on the podcast. You're amazing in person, and we have so much in common, I think, in the terms of what we work with. But you are much more further than me, and you are really a role model in that for me. But is it something more that you would like to share with the audience?
No, I just say, in terms of the audience, I said the most grand version of consciousness is emotional intelligence. And that's self-awareness, understanding your triggers, traumas, and self-aware flaws, but also people awareness, situational awareness, market awareness if you're in business, and even client awareness as well. I help people in all of those, and that can really help in your life as well. So if you need any help whatsoever, come and get in touch with me. I'll be delighted to help with you. You can catch me on dougdgordon.com or give me a message on LinkedIn, and I'll try and help in any way or form.
Thank you. Okay, amazing discussion here. You're incredible. So thank you for being on my podcast. I think I'm really thrilled by your expertise and your wisdom, in this subject, and how you present it is really getting you as some universal subject, and it's really important for everybody to listen to that, and it's a very powerful reminder what really life is about, right? It's not about stressing out and following some deadlines. It's about feeling good about it on the way to achieving. So to everybody that's listening, I hope Doug's words has encouraged you to rethink about what stress is about and how you can change your mindset. So to create a life that is more balanced, right? And more happy and more meaningful. And we need to read your book, of course. And if this episode resonates with you, I encourage you to share this episode and also other episodes with others that also needs to hear it. And as always, I thank you for being here, and I thank you, Doug, to be on my podcast as well. And let's keep on learning, growing, and thriving together. And for you guys that are on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another episode. And until next time, take care of yourself and focus on truly moving forward in life, but without too much stress. So thank you for today, and thank you again, Doug.
Thank you.
Till next time.